Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is the newest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton and it stars an all-Asian cast. This movie focuses on the character Shang-Chi, and he's a ballet parker who has no ambition to do better in life. He's very talented. He has all these degrees. He can speak in four languages, but he just rather not grow up and just have fun and take the easy route. But one day he's drawn into the Ten Rings organizations, and as a viewer, you get to learn what his past consists of, and he has to confront his past so that he can see what his whole situation is. And we have our movie. I was very excited for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, despite not having read a single comic about the character. I thought the trailers were really impressive, and I was interested to see how the director was going to do because Destin Daniel Cretton, he's directed two movies I've seen. He's directed Short Term 12, which is an incredible movie that barely anyone has ever seen. And you have Just Mercy starring Jamie Foxx, which is a really good movie too. I never imagined that director would be doing a Marvel movie, but I was still intrigued to see what he would do. And like I said before, the trailers were just great. So the question is, what did I think of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings? I thought this movie was really solid. I thought this was a very good movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe filmography, and I just had a blast watching this film. I saw this movie in IMAX last night, and I have to say, watching it in IMAX was an awesome experience. Definitely like this movie a lot, and I would highly recommend it to people. So let's talk about some of the reasons why I thought this movie was as good as it was. First of all, the action sequences in this film are spectacular. There are really top-notch action sequences that easily rank amongst the best of the whole franchise. Now, I know that saying is a little bit tiring because you've had a bunch of Marvel movies recently where critics will say the action scenes are so spectacular and are some of the best. And it's hard to take that phrase seriously because critics tend to overuse it, especially when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I will say 100% wholeheartedly that the action sequences in this movie absolutely live up to the hype. And you have the bus scene, which you see in the trailer, but there's a lot more that's not revealed in that scene. And that scene in particular is so well done. And there's other scenes too that just blew me away. The choreography and the stunts, it was awesome. It was glorious to see. It was different than you would see in the Marvel movies. So I definitely appreciated that too. The Kung Fu here was just awesome. But yeah, the action sequences, they are definitely one of the biggest highlights of the movie. And the cast is excellent. Now, look, I've said this a bunch of times before on my channel. When it comes to foreign names, I am terrible at pronouncing the names. So I understand that I'm someone who should know better, but for the sake of this review and not embarrassing myself, I'm just going to say the characters' names, and I'll say that the actor has done a great job at the same time. So you have the actor who plays Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi, he is a very likable and sympathetic character who is also a badass. When you see how he masters the Kung Fu, how he masters Kung Fu and how he basically fights and can basically mess up anybody without even really trying, it's just awesome to see. And he's a great character. I definitely was rooting for him throughout the entire movie. He's very likable as a hero. So yeah, I thought the actor who played Shang-Chi, he did a great job. Also, who did a great job was Awkwafina. She plays Katie. Katie is Shang-Chi's friend, and she's kind of in the same boat as him, where she is also a ballet parker, and she has no ambition to grow up or try to do better. And she's a comedy relief in this movie, and I thought she was funny. She was really funny, actually. But she's not just there to provide comedy. She's also there to be a badass, and she has her own arc. And when you get to see how she completes her arc in the movie, it's actually really cool to see. So I definitely thought she was really solid as well. And you have the villain in the movie, who's Shang-Chi's father. One of the best villains in the MCU, hands down. It's not even a question, because you get to really understand his motivations. Now, there are scenes in this movie where he does ruthless actions. He is completely off the rails in some of the things he does, but you get to understand where he's really coming from, and you actually feel sympathy for him. So I thought they really humanized the villain in such a great way. He is not a generic villain who wants to just take over the world just for the sake of it. Like there's actually a legitimately clear understanding. You don't condone his actions, but you understand where he comes from. And when you get to say that about a villain, that's when you know you have a great villain at hand. And this movie has a fantastic villain for sure. And you have Shang-Chi's sister, who is definitely one of the best characters in the movie. She is a badass in this movie. She has her own arc as well. She has her own demons in the past, and you get to see what she's been up to since Shang-Chi hasn't seen her in a long time. And yeah, I loved her character. Definitely would not be opposed to seeing a spin-off of her in the Disney Plus show, or maybe even a spin-off movie. I don't know. But in any case, yeah, the cast here, everyone is excellent. There's no complaints about the acting department. So you have terrific action scenes. You have wonderful performances. And you also have a really engaging story. This is not just a really fun action movie with some great humor attached to it. This is also a very effective drama. I like the whole family dynamic that was presented in the movie, and it's a dysfunctional, broken family. Now, it's hard to place the blame on one individual, and when you see the film, you know what I'm talking about. But I really liked how the themes of family was presented in this movie. I thought that was really well done. This film throughout has gorgeous shots. There's really colorful visuals. You can tell that the director, he had a lot of influence from Asian cinema, and he put it in this movie. Doesn't feel like a ripoff of anything, but you can definitely see the influence of Asian cinema, and I thought that was really cool. That's never been done in the MCU before, so it was definitely refreshing to see that for this franchise. And yeah, like I said before, the action sequences, they're incredible. The acting is great. The comedy works really well, and I thought the story was really dope. In terms of flaws, I will say there are parts of the second act that do drag a little bit. I thought the first act was so good, and the third act was great too. There are just some moments in the second act that I started to feel that runtime. And look, this film, it's doing something different for the franchise. Now, is it entirely groundbreaking? Probably not. It does tend to follow the same formula that other MCU films have been doing for the past 10 years. And I didn't entirely mind it because I really enjoyed the movie. But I can see somebody who has superhero fatigue say that they're tired of the same old formula. They're tired of the third act with all the creatures and the huge CGI fest. I get it. I completely understand it. I didn't personally have a problem with it, but I could see the argument of you saying this isn't entirely groundbreaking, despite the fact that it's doing something a little different for the franchise. It typically does follow the same formula. But other than that, there's not really much else to complain. And yeah, I will say maybe 10% of the humor doesn't work, but that's such a low number anyway. So I'm going to say that I really enjoyed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I saw this movie in IMAX, as I stated before, and I just had a blast. It definitely is one of the stronger MCU solo films. In comparison to Black Widow, this is miles better than that movie, in my opinion. And I will say, definitely see it on the big screen. This movie is having a lot of people back in the theater. So it's shattering box office records, which is great to see because we don't want to see more Marvel movies or any more movies delayed, to be honest. So it's a great sign that people are doing that. So I would definitely recommend to go to the theater and checking it out. I had such a good time. There's a lot to appreciate. Oh, very minor flaws, but all in all, I'm going to give Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it and will take it into consideration in regards to checking out this movie or not. A couple of days ago, I posted my top 10 most anticipated movies of the rest of 2021 or fall 2021. This movie was on that list, but just in case you guys missed me making that video, I'm going to upload that video in the description box below just so you guys can check it out in case you already haven't. And also, the next review I'm going to be doing, I believe it's going to be the new James Wan horror film, Malignant. I think that's the next review I'm going to be doing. So stay tuned for that, perhaps on Saturday or next week. So next weekend. So there you have it. Thank you guys again. Make sure to Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and share the video if you want. I will see you guys next time with another review. So until then, take care, have a good one. Bye.